My name is Maarten Doonenbal. I'm one of the founders of Churnt. Churnt is an AI-driven customer success management platform. But it's not about me today. It's about the topic and the amazing panelists that are here. So I'm very excited to be joined by Mick, by Rick, and by Tom. And we will go to the introductions of the panelists shortly. But first, a little bit of housekeeping. So this webinar is recorded. It will be available shortly after the session. If you signed up with your email, you receive it by email. If not, you can find it on our website and on LinkedIn. Next to that, we would like to hear from you. So if you have any questions, there will be room for a Q&A at the end of the session, but please already share your questions in the chat. And then at the end, we will go through the questions. Then we have another part where you can share your thoughts, and that is we will have some statements throughout the session where you can either agree or disagree with. For example, Churnt is the best AI-driven customer success management platform. You all press agree. And then but I will also ask those questions to the panel members. So agree or disagree. And also these results will be available following the session. So that's about it for the housekeeping, meaning that we can go to the introductions. So yeah, please, let's start with Mick. Can you go first and introduce yourself?
So my name is Mick Weijers. I founded Customer Success Snack 2 years ago, where we help all cities within Europe to mature the customer success. So I hope that I've seen some of you already in one of the big cities we did last year, but we have a lot up our sleeves for next year. And next to that, I'm also Director of Customer Success for Chanext. Chanext is a marketing automation tool for channel revenue, where I'm heading the customer success teams and the professional service team. And we're really in a rapid scaling phase. That's all about me, and I'm going to give it to Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. I'm Tom Carnewal. I have been in the tech and the SaaS space for almost 25 years. So you could probably call me a dinosaur, mainly in customer service and customer success functions. I've also co-founded 2 SaaS companies in the past, Funky Time and Certables. And earlier this year, we started a new startup company, which is called Customer Cross. And Customer Cross is a service company that delivers durable revenue growth to its customers by reducing churn and optimizing the upsell. Right? And we do that using our research-based methodology, the customer's data, and our partners' technology. And that's how we scale your company into the future of higher recurring revenue. And that's it for me. Over to Rick.
Thank you very much, Tom. My name is Rick Adams. I've done over 35 years of work in the technology field. So if you're a dinosaur, I don't know how to describe myself. However, if you do want a Windows NT 3.51 installation, just let me know. Meantime, my background really is business consultancy, coaching and training in the technology space. I have also founded and started up my own SaaS business and sold it a while back. I've worked with major enterprises, including notably Cisco, in their business transformation program and around customer success management specialization. And I am the founder and CEO of Practical CSM. We deliver customer success management training and coaching.
Amazing. Thanks guys for all being here. And a special shout out to Tom, which had to jump in quite very short before this session. So thanks a lot for that. Then, before we dive into the actual panel discussion, I would like to set the stage briefly because I think it is relevant for the discussion of today. So hiring right is very important because hiring wrong is very expensive. On average, a bad hire costs 30% of its first year's earnings, and 20% of the people that are hired today will leave within 45 days. So this is not only expensive, but it's also very bad for your customer relationships, especially, of course, in customer success. That's all about customer relationships. So to prevent this from happening, you need to hire people with the right cultural fit, with the right attitude and the right skills. But that's easier said than done, because are the skills that are required today also the skills that are required tomorrow? And that is a valid question if you look at some developments within the SaaS industry, but especially in customer success. There's a lot of focus around ROI and customer success. Who owns renewals? There's also a discussion that we see going on a lot. And you also see that in the numbers with more customer success managers owning expansion or at least taking a part in that. Next to the ROI part, we have the rise of AI, digital customer success, and also CS Ops. You have seen the number of Ops teams doubling the last year. So having said all this, the question is, how do these developments impact the team dynamics and the required skills for customer success teams to be successful? And that is something that we will discuss in the coming minutes. So let me go to the first topic of today, and that is hiring right. So for this topic, I would like to point to Mick to kick us off with the first question, and that is, what qualities do you think are essential in a customer success candidate that experience doesn't necessarily guarantee?
So this is a very tricky question. So what I've seen in the last few years is that all kinds of CS jobs are different. Like, people ask me, can you give me a blurb or can you give me a boilerplate of what a job post should look like? And everything is different. If you do SMB, if you do enterprise, if you are responsible for full cycle, if it's specialist roles. So therefore, it's very difficult to say what kind of qualities are essential in a CS candidate if you don't really know where it fits within the journey, within the organization, what kind of stakeholders do they manage. So in the end, there's a lot of qualities that I think are essential in a CS candidate for enterprise, such as boardroom presence, storytelling, how you present yourself, how you present a case, and experience in SMB or digital touch does not always guarantee that it's a successful match. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really, really, really key that you understand what kind of customer success role you have in your organization, and therefore what kind of qualities and what kind of skills do you need. But just a few years of experience as customer success does not guarantee anything about the customer success necessity that you have in your organization.
Yeah, I think you have a valid point there, Mick, and it definitely depends on the context and what type of role you're looking for. Although I do believe there's a couple of qualities that always stand out, no matter what the context will be. And for me, two of them are proactiveness and empathy. It doesn't really matter whether you're low touch, SMB, enterprise, whatever. You need this touch of proactiveness, right? And if there's something that makes customer success stand out from, for instance, traditional support or help desk agents, it's the fact that help desk and support is always reactive, whereas a CS, you have to be proactive, and that doesn't really matter whether you're low touch, high touch, whatever. And the same with empathy, I think.
But Tom, like, we live in a bubble, of course. Like, in our world, every customer success manager is proactive. So then this experience will actually show it. Like, but no, I think you're completely right there. Like, proactivity is key. Like, if you are glorified support, then it's reactive based work, but it should be proactive. Empathy, connection, and in general, I believe that a good project manager, because you always have to manage a lot of internal and external stakeholders, doesn't matter what you do. So you need to be a really good quarterback or a project manager within the organization. And those are skills that I would look for. But Rick, what do you look for?
Yeah, we discuss this a lot in our training when we're talking to particularly to more senior people about roles within their organization. And I think the way we describe it is there are three domains of expertise that are required. And by the way, when I say expertise, I'm talking about the appropriate combination of knowledge, skill, and experience, i.e. knowledge, I know it and understand it, and I can think about it and decide and plan. Skill, I've done it lots, so I'm good at it. And experience, because I've encountered a lot of different situations, I know when to apply which rules and how to do it in a particular situation. So the expertise that we talk about, these three domains, is not including a whole bunch of good customer facing skills that any customer facing professional should have, such as empathy and storytelling and energy and being able to make friends easily and emotional intelligence and all of that sort of stuff, self-starting, but leaving that aside, the three domains that we talk about are: number one, you've got to understand the industry that your customer is in. So for example, I might be a SaaS company, my industry therefore is software. I'm not talking about that. I sell, maybe let's say I sell software to the legal industry. So I've got to understand the legal industry. I've got to talk their language. I've got to understand their challenges. I've got to know what their issues are. I've got to know how they would use my product, why they would need to use it, what types of problems it's going to help them with, etc., etc. The better I know and understand my client's world, the better I can help them, and the more likely they are to receive that help and see me as being one of them and grow that empathy and rapport that we need. So that's domain number one, the customer's industry. Domain number two, I describe as product. Product, as in my product. I've got to understand my product. My customer already understands their world. What if they're a new customer, what they don't know is my product, which of course could be a service. So I'm not differentiating here. It could be a solution comprising multiple products and services combined together. The point is it's a product, they've bought it. So they need help with it. They don't need help to make it. So it's not like I'm the manufacturing expert. They don't need help to support it. They've got the support people to do that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the art of the possible with the product. What does it do? How does it do it? When does it do it? How can I get my people trained up in it? What do they need? How can I get started quickly? How can I get the maximum out of my product? So product is the thing they're relying on that we're bringing in that they don't have. The context is the industry. They already know that, but we need to know it. So we're on a level. Product is the bit they don't know. We're going to bring that in. And then the final of these three domains that we describe is the role. What's the role? Customer success management. And just like any role, we need to know the best practice in it. So how do we evangelize customer success management so people are actually interested in working with us post-sales to get maximum value in the first place? Having done that, what is the process of onboarding, adoption, value realization, and value maximization that we want to go through with them to help them build a success plan and implement it and measure and report on the value being attained, and ultimately, from our point of view, therefore, retaining and purchasing more. So those are the three domains that I would recommend when you're looking for somebody in a particular role. As Mick and Thomas said, the exact what you're looking for is going to vary a little bit, but I would say that if you bear in mind those three domains plus your customer facing skills as an individual, that any customer facing professional, it's desirable for them to have, and I think you'll get sort of fairly close, I hope.
Thanks, Tom. Rick. Very comprehensive, and of course Mick and Tom as well. You actually already brought something up that I wanted to bring up, so I appreciate that. But maybe Tom, do you have anything to add? So basically, Rick already gave some kind of framework how to make sure that you hire the people that you're looking for. Do you have any best practices or processes that
Well,
that
from both my own experience, I had the fortune to build quite a lot of customer success teams over the past decades, and from what I've learned with our customers is that obviously your first hire is always the most difficult one, right? It's the most difficult one for several reasons. Usually at that moment your budgets are limited, so you can't afford any mistakes. Usually it's the only person your customers are going to talk to, so it has to be a very good one. And it's usually what I refer to as the Swiss Army knife, right? That first hire needs to be technical, functional, business-wise. That person needs to have everything to support your first customers as a customer success manager. But And so for that reason, it is difficult to find, because they're usually the black swans, which for which we are all looking. But from your second hire on, the biggest mistake you can make is try to find a second Swiss Army knife. First of all, because they are hard to find. And secondly, because it is important, your second hire means you are building a team, right? As soon as you have 2 people, you have a team. In a team, it is important that you have diversity in all kinds of domains, your expertise, your background, your education, whatever, it doesn't matter. But keep in mind that balance, that diversity, so that your team in the end is a diverse team that brings in the creativity and the energy that a team needs to have. Not every CS needs to be as technical as the first one. Not every CS needs to have top-notch presentation skills as another person has. They all need some of it, but you can have experts. It's not a problem, just to make sure you have the right balance. And there's also one thing I would like to throw in once you start recruiting, is that you as a team leader, you have a very important role as well, right? We've been going through very difficult times with the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. And now all organizations, even those that didn't used to have hybrid working or home office or whatever, are using it today. And it brings us into a difficult situation where you as a team leader, in particular, need to bear that in mind and make sure that the onboarding is adapted to your hybrid way of working, that you give your people enough autonomy without leaving them into chaos, and don't underestimate that, right? You just start building your team. You might not be used to leading a team. Don't forget that in the end, you're a team leader and you also have a responsibility. So get your Swiss Army knife, keep the balance in mind, and don't forget your role as a team leader. That's what my 2 cents would be in this discussion.
Thanks, Tom. Amazing input. So we have to move on to the next, because we're a bit over time on this subject. So I will bring a statement. I think, Mus, you can bring the statement in so people can agree or disagree. For the panel members here, you can also only agree or disagree because we don't have time for the explanation to it. So the statement is: in the rapidly evolving field of customer success, a resume's historical data is less indicative of future success than a candidate's mindset and adaptability to change. So agree or disagree?
Agree.
Agree.
Go to LinkedIn instead. It's more versatile.
No, but adaptability, that's the one thing. That's the true part.
Right, so mostly agree. And last on this topic, so hiring that Swiss Army knife is of course not easy. It's easier said than done. If you can find it, you can also use a specialized agency for that. I actually worked myself at an agency a long time ago. You have great parties like Noble, non-sponsored shout out to Storm Meyer, who specialized in customer success recruitment. Having said that, next topic, skill development. So in the introduction, I said that the upcoming of AI and digital customer success brings the question: are the skills that are required today still the skills that are required tomorrow? And that is the question that I would like to ask to Rick. So in this age, what are the top skills customer success professionals need to develop, and how should leaders prioritize them?
Yeah, right. So obviously, I think every role is becoming more technical in terms of the tools that you need to master to be good at a complex job. So I think, you know, a comfort and familiarity with complex software is important. I think the data analysis, understanding how to manage a lot of information at the same time and make sense of it, and how to pull it together into a format that's going to actually help you is really important. So I would definitely be looking for those sorts of abilities. And I would say that the bit that the AI, you know, AI is great at analyzing the data and making recommendations. It's great at pointing you in the right direction. And of course, some of the more basic stuff it can automate. But what that leaves us as a customer success professional is the customer facing doing it bit. So then actually that then goes back to old school in a way to say, okay, well, the bit that we're still going to be doing is the customer facing bit, the storytelling, the listening, the empathy, the management of emotions, and different stakeholders who perhaps are not at their best right now because they're under a lot of stress and something's gone wrong and they're shouting at us, and we're the ones who are going to perhaps calm the situation and work out a way to fix it. So I think that those sorts of customer facing skills are going to remain really important whilst we let the AI and the digital get on with some of the more mundane underneath the hood type stuff.
Yeah, I think Rick is spot on there, and this is not just for CS people. I think it's even more general. But yeah, focus on the added value, not on the repetitive part. I agree.
Yeah, and also, like, if you see the amount of burnouts in the customer success industry are pretty high, so I would definitely talk about time management, about urgent, not urgent, prioritizing everything, because the job of CS is evolving and it's never enough. Like, your to-do list is never over. So those kind of skills, I believe it's up to leaders to also develop those soft skills on how to keep yourself in a healthy space.
Well, there I would say, Mick, in terms of things like time management, we can teach somebody time management, but I think that what we're looking for is somebody mature enough to know when to come to you and say, I've got enough, I can't cope anymore, rather than perhaps who hides it and doesn't feel comfortable to say, look, my workload's too much, can you help me? So I think it's that I'm looking for, the type of personality who is open to admitting they don't know and can't do everything, and is willing to learn, and the actual sort of specific skills around, you know, how to manage workload and things. Yeah, we can train.
Like I agree there, Rick, and it would be amazing if everyone would do that. However, like, if you just look at the rates, then it's pretty high, and I think it's up to leadership. But it's all about adding context, what you said. That's also why I think storytelling is so important, because the 1 or 2 years from now, all the data points will double again. You will have a lot of information. It's all about what do you need to pick, what do you need to highlight, what really adds value, what is vanity metrics, what is the strategy of your customers, and empathy, asking questions, listening. I think the art of listening, especially if you're under 30, is very difficult at the moment.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing to that, and that is, I think it is important that you learn your team members to manage their energy over their time. It's more important that you learn how to manage your energy than to manage your time. You need to manage your time, but in terms of priority, first manage your energy and then manage your time.
Great points. We have to move on to the next one because I'm looking at the time and we're going over. So we discussed the required skills that are there because of AI, but we also have economic developments. For example, the ROI story in customer success. So should a customer success manager own expansion or not? The question is, did this impact let's say the customer success team structure and also the skill set that the leader should prioritize? So more in the ROI, from an ROI perspective. Tom.
Yeah, well, as you know, we do a lot of data analysis in the domain of customer success. And one of the most important findings we have done there is, if your customer success team hasn't been involved in what we call commercial actions, you should urgently start doing so, right? And I know a lot of people in the CS industry are reluctant or even against this idea, but let me give you 4 important reasons why you should do it. The first one is, you as a CS, as a trusted advisor, you are so well placed to identify up and cross-sell, right? You're probably the best placed person in the entire organization. Secondly, KPIs to track those commercial activities are so easy to find and to track. Thirdly, customers that where you can realize up and cross-sell, stay longer. Churn rates cross-industry go down by about 30% if you're able to realize up and cross-sell. And fourthly, in harsh economic times like these, there's no better thing to justify your budget with your CFO or your CEO, right, than the dollars or the euros that you bring to the top line of the company. So those are four main reasons to do that. And for that reason, I think it is important, if you are hiring CS people, do look into this kind of commercial, business-related skills that people might have. They don't need to close the deal, but they need to have this, what the Germans call Fingerspitzengefühl, you know, that little commercial touch that
the Germans have a word for everything, don't they?
Sorry?
I said the Germans have a word for everything.
Yeah, and they're usually
German language.
pretty long.
You will just keep adding existing words till you get the new word. Yeah.
But Fingerspitzengefühl has been around for a very long time. I can tell you that one.
Love it.
No, I love it. I mean, so yes, that kind of skills is important to bring that into the skill set for your CS, I think, whether you like it or not. But for the reasons I mentioned, it is important that you bring it into your team and bring it as a positive thing, not as, oh gosh, we have to sell. No, that's not how you should look on it. You help the organization, you justify your budget, you're well placed, and your customers will stay longer.
Like Tom, fully agree. Like, just a little add on there. I've also seen it work where even support functions can upsell, like very easily, because there's demand. Then let's pull the trigger. Like, everyone in your whole organization should be empowered to pull the trigger or to know who should help pulling a trigger. Because the customer wants new milestone or a new goal, and then for that goal, you can offer a new package. So yeah, completely agree. And Rick has some nice in the chat. So please keep your chat open, because we don't have all the time, but read the chat. There's a lot to
I just can't follow it because it goes so fast.
Well, my thoughts on this topic is that there is increased pressure to do more with less, probably for everyone. But I think it's exacerbated in customer success because we're relatively new. And I don't think everybody, even internally, really understands what we should be doing. And so, you know, well, why not get the CS team to do this as well? And then we end up with a lot of burdens. And I think that this has led to part of the burnout that we see in customer success, is where we end up holding a lot of different bits and pieces that really and truly distract us from what we should be doing. So my recommendations: 1, clarify what your company's expectations are. What do you want CS to do for you? 2, focus on that, evangelize that internally and externally, and focus on it. The core of customer success should be increasing customer value. If you increase customer value, customers are more likely to stay, customers are more likely to buy more from us. Selling is important. You should already have sales doing selling. Do you need more selling? If you do, think about adding it to the sales team rather than to the customer success team. Let customer success focus on what it should be doing. However, I do agree with what both Mick and Tom has said, is what does the word selling mean anyway? We're all salespeople. We sell all the time. When our child says to us, Mummy, Daddy, please can I stay up and have one more story? We will say, well, you can have one more story, but only if you promise to be good and if you will go straight to bed afterwards. And there you go. We've just done a sale. Okay. It is happening all the time around us. Let's not worry about it, you know, and let's all just get on and do it. So in that sense, but in terms of formal selling, let the salespeople do the formal selling. Let the customer success managers increase value for customers. It's what customers want from us.
Amazing input, all three. I think we could almost do a whole session about this topic. So maybe we should actually for next webinar. But I really loved it, and also the point of Mick of bringing the sales, not limiting it to a specific department. I think that's a really good one there with the support, for example, and maybe also even incentivizing them in the same way. Then a last statement. So agree or disagree. We can only do the agree or disagree again. So as digital skills become a commodity in customer success through advancing technology, The truly crucial skills will resolve around human empathy and connection. So agree or disagree?
Yeah, agreed.
I agree. Agree.
Okay, then we go to the next topic, which is team dynamics, how CS Ops, digital customer success, and other roles are shaping the future. So Mick, let's start with you. Question 1, at what point should a company consider branching out into specialist roles like CS Ops, and how to determine the need for such specializations?
So, like, I don't want to go into when do you have product market fit and what the definition is there. However, if you're still in a business where you're constantly doing micro pivots, it's better if you have a team of generalists, because you don't really know what you need to do this quarter or next quarter. And you might need to completely shift your maturity model or your engagement. You think you have weekly interactions with your customer, but 1 quarter later you find out that actually you have 1 QBR or 1 EBR per year. That's also enough. So when you are really in that experimentation phase just before you hit scaling, then it doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to have a lot of specialist roles. But as soon as you know and you can predict your journey, then you can start with specialized roles. As soon as you can predict, specialized roles really make sense, because also what Rick just said, like, it's impossible to do everything. And you can't be good at everything. So therefore, when I do an enterprise sale, I love to get a key account manager on board to really do the negotiating. Or I love to get a integration specialist on board if I need to integrate a big CRM project. It's impossible that I can do both really well, like, or you need to be that Swiss Army knife. So you can find one person that can do everything a little bit, but as soon as you need to ramp up, you need to specialize.
Yeah,
So I just put a little. Oh, go ahead, Tom, please.
Yeah, sorry. I know, and this also circles back to what we said in the first question, where it is important to have this diversity in your team as well, right? First of all, not everybody can be good at everything. That's the first thing. And secondly, that diversity brings a good dynamic into your team, and that has a lot of other benefits that everybody can learn from. So and it has more to do with the maturity of your organization, as Mick said, and not so much with your customers and the markets. That's what I think.
As I agree with what Mick has said, I agree with what Tom has said. I think great points. They've really covered it. I see it as a percentage game. So whilst I've got a very small team, like 5 CSMs, each CSM therefore is covering 20% of my customer success. When I've got 50 CSMs, then you could argue that each CSM is covering 2% of my customer success. Now, if I take 1 CSM out of the 50, then I'm only taking away 2%. The other 49 can cover that 2% of customer-facing productivity, whilst that 1 CSM now moves into a specialist role, which makes all of them perhaps 1 or 2% more effective themselves, which means that we're like 2% times 49 better off than we were before.
Yeah,
but whilst
right.
I've only got 5, it ain't possible. You've got to be realistic. So it's something that we want to do when the time is right. You've got to do the math. It's got to suit you, and you've got to do, depending on the specifics of your needs.
But Rick, like, even in a team of 5, if you need to do heavy integrations, it makes sense to have an integration specialist.
Potentially, it could well do. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
It could be. Like,
although I would argue that if you've got that level of heavy integration, I don't know that I would be putting that into customer success.
Preferably not. Like, let's put it in the product department.
Yeah. I'd call that the integration team, right? So, I would say that is sort of separate to. That's more like an implementation type role than a value maximization role that I see the CSM. I see the CSMs as being consultants, coaches, advisors. We work with the customer post-sale, not so much to get it implemented and supported in those roles, but to actually then help them make the decisions, plan and implement a plan to get the value out of it. That's what we should be doing.
Great points, guys. I have a second question here, but I would like to ask you if you can share your answer in, let's say, almost one sentence. I know it's very difficult, but let's try to, so that we can still handle this topic within the time. And that question is, so what emerging specializations or other trends do you predict will become crucial in customer success over the next 5 years? So I don't know, Rick, if I can ask you first.
Yeah, I don't know that I've got an answer for this, actually. Perhaps surprisingly for me, I'd need to think about that. Sorry.
Okay. I think that's good. That saves us time. I don't know if Mick or Tom has an answer to
Okay.
that.
I think we will see a way higher focus on data and anything that has to do with data analysis. One sentence.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Tom, I don't know why we're so in sync today, but it's full data analysis and especially data visualization.
Right. As a data company in customer success, I'm very happy with your answers to this question. Then that brings me to the last statement, and that is you can agree or disagree. In the future CS landscape, being able to adapt and handle multiple roles will be more valuable than specialized expertise. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
Depends on the size of the team. Like you're 50 or you're
Agree
5.
or disagree?
Well, then
I'm going
I have
to
disagree,
agree that we
because
know
it
that
says-
there's
it
going
says
to be
will be,
thousands of
so
new
I
CS
disagree.
tools.
Yeah.
So there's going to be thousands of new SaaS companies. So in the future CS landscape, for all that SaaS growth coming up, being versatile might be better. Sorry.
But what do brand new SaaS companies end up being over time? Older, mature companies, yeah?
Yeah,
We
exactly.
So
Okay. Right. Perfect. That brings us to the last part of the webinar, which is the Q&A. I was just checking for questions, but there's so much in the chat that it's quite difficult to find the questions in there. But I saw one question about how can we, John Mel, how do you test for mindset and adaptability? I think that is for the hiring right part. How do you test for that?
yeah, if you have the opportunity, John, invite them over to the office, do a case study, full day.
Yes.
Like whenever I can, do it in person. That's where you really can go. You can see the mindset, adaptability. You can push them a little bit off their feet with something, and then you can really, really tell. But online, that's way more difficult.
Great answer.
Yeah. My experience is if you take people completely out of their comfort zone, and you will see straight away how adaptable they are. So put them in a role play or whatever, which they completely did not expect, and you will see how adaptable they are.
And I agree with that. Both of you, I think both answers perfect. Do case studies tonight. Don't just ask questions and get there. Put them into a scenario and ask them to work through the scenario with you, with them, explaining their thinking as they're doing it. So you're getting through a situation rather than just like a one sentence answer, which allows them to present a whole different side to them.
Amazing. So I'm looking for, there's another question from Joshua is asking, I would like to know more on what steps can organizations or you as a customer success leader take to ensure a seamless collaboration between CS teams and other departments such as marketing and sales?
Get in touch with us.
Yeah, excellent question.
Yeah, I'm not joking.
You can't do it unless you communicate. As the leader, we are responsible for taking the lead, getting out there, having lunch with our peers in other departments, getting to know them, becoming their friend, understanding their challenges and how we might be able to help them and their frustrations and problems, and evangelizing what customer success really is, making sure they really understand. Yeah, if you're not doing that, don't expect any of your team to be doing it. They won't be, I can promise you.
Exactly.
And what I also know, this is an exercise you can do, is go over a full customer journey end to end and get everyone involved. because then it's really visible. What was the marketing promise? What was the sales promise? What was the success promise? Where do we need to align better? Where is it different? So have lunch, evangelize, have conversations, but do the full map end-to-end review as an exercise.
Great points. Then I see Sophia would like to know more about AI and customer success. I would recommend following Churnt. We will do more. We have a lot of content around it, but we will do more webinars.
It's
Sophia,
a very hot topic at the moment. Yeah, there's lots of great stuff. Yeah, including obviously Churnt. Yeah.
Yeah. Stephanie has a new question, but I think we don't have time for that. We will follow up on the question later on to stay in time. So I think this was it for now for the Q&A. I want to thank the panelists for being here. Mick, if people want to reach out, where can they find you?
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the easiest way to get in touch with me.
I think everyone is available on LinkedIn, right? So that's the best one. Let's share the LinkedIn URL here. Stephanie, if you want to have a chat, by the way, let me know. I can help you out with that difficult role.
Yeah. You're all. Yeah. Go ahead, Tom, Rick.
Well, there's only one Tom Carnewal in the world, so wherever you type my name, you will get back to me.
Clarify your role. What are the priorities that your company wants from you as a customer success manager, and then hold them to it. Tell them that that's what you're going to be working on, and not to expect you to be doing loads of other stuff, because you can't do everything. There's only one of you. Clarify, prioritize, hold them to it. Good luck.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. So
Everyone.
we will be announcing our next webinar soon. So if you want to join, keep an eye on the Churnt LinkedIn page. We will follow up with a post on LinkedIn today, probably showing the results of the statements that you reply to. So if you agree or disagree. And thanks again for joining us today. And we hope to see you soon. And next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.